It's all true. You deny it all. That same voice that you heard that told you not to board the train and that there was an accident, that told you there was a sale and you didn't understand for what, compelled you, made you go to there. You know, you're tired and you just want to go home, or you're horny, and because he does that, and made you go there, and all of a sudden you have a pair of glasses or whatever, your contacts are like freaking 50% off, and you're like, oh my god, that's what this field is all about. And it's really tough right now to justify all of this, and just remember that a lot of people are going to tell you that you guys are so lucky and this and that. It's the truth. So just take it in strides right now, and really, really be considerate and grateful for the opportunity that you have. And until finally trust and evidence of spirituality is 100%. Then the guide asks you many things. It first asks you if you believe, and then it asks next for you to stop taking drugs. Because at this point, you know that it had asked you in the past, told you to stop or slow down. Whether you know it, or whether you like it, and whether or not you want to admit to it, or whether you want to embrace it, a process is beginning within you that can't be stopped. Now, for the younger generation, it's much easier for you guys. The older generation, some of us went actually crazy. Anyways, a wonderful journey now begins. Then a compromise must be made on your part, as you must now battle, as you must now begin to battle your inner demons. And the sacrifice of working hard for your dreams must always be there. However, because our brain's ability to learn and catalog distinct experiences, eventually the person reacts to those experiences. Because they do not understand the lessons, they are only attuned to the experience at the subconscious level. Therefore, much like we understand the snake and that they are dangerous, we react. Reaction is a pre-programmed and subconscious behavior. A perfect example of computer programming is that for those that live in a country without poisonous snakes, will always avoid or try to kill a non-poisonous baby snake. With these facts in place, the scientific community and the public must now be very careful about how they view drugs like ecstasy, marijuana, LSD, peyote, mescaline, DMT, and other potent hallucinogenic stimulants. For once the person takes drugs, they are descending down into the rabbit hole or another world. Once the drugs intake changes from experiment to experience, they partake into the journey of chemical enlightenment. Now, for those that desire to evolve spiritually, this sounds good. But the dangers revealed is that once you start your ascension process, you must begin to resolve all your negative karmas and resolve traumatic experiences from the present and your past. Most of the times you can slow this pace. And the only reason why you could slow the pace now is because we're closer to the gateway, which is 2012. Now, the gateway is here as a form of default or residual energy. Because there's too much unenlightened people, it's still chaos. Now, resolving negative karma is the second process, and if you have been not good, but a fair person in life, then this part of the second process will be to your advantage, as it is possible to be good in a world where being king of the world is a physical existence. Therefore, by being Charles Darwin's of the survival of the fittest is only to be corrupt. To exist is to be conditioned this way, making it very challenging to be good, as being spiritual has nothing to do with being only physical and just physical. But since this is the second stage, let's try and understand the importance of the first stage in your enlightenment. In the first stage of enlightenment, when you are ready, your brain reawakens memories from your past. These are memories that have been deactivated by your subconscious mind. In psychology, this is called repression of specific memories. Memory for the protection of the developing mind. This technology of repression does this so that the experience does not damage the person's mind. This damage inhibits normal and healthy growth of the mind. As if a person constantly thinks about certain negative experiences, they will learn to associate different and all experiences as partners of that experience. So if a person is paranoid rather than pessimistic, then they will learn to associate all experiences as a method of protection. If a person is always mentally aware and will go halfway in that journey, that agreement, that lesson, then two things happen. When a person is mentally negative, the brain manufactures chemicals so that the body can feel these negative thoughts. Your brain is not evil. It is your agent, or your chemical producer of physical thoughts, into this reality. So when the mystics say it's what you feel, and in another light, you are what you eat, it's true. A perfect example is manipulating your feelings by listening to music. The trick is, if you wait until your brain is relaxed or stimulated, convinced, and suggested into a state, until your brain is relaxed, they recall to specific moments that together eventually produce happy chemicals, and in this way make you feel better. Of course, this process can be optimized or reduced in production of those chemicals simply by playing certain songs, skipping to the favorite parts of the songs. That does is that it activates certain specific memories that will make you dance a certain way, that will make you feel a certain way, and it's because of the words and the beat. Even the beat will trigger this memory. It's called association, and it stores into your brain and will make you recall in that way, and you can just personally increase your vibrational rate just by skipping to your favorite part, and it'll make you vibrate at a higher frequency. And we'll get to how you can do all these things without the drugs. You have to continue to read and all topics on drugs and on memory. Memory is the addiction is a very important paper too. Your spiritual mind will always, as a safety measure, test to see if certain stimuli will provoke an avoidance response, which means not ready to address, confront, and rehabilitate certain traumas in your current life or past. It does this, and for example, if you have been bitten by a dog, it slowly reintroduces the experience safely by reintroducing a cuddly small dog and waits for reaction. And then, let's say it sends psychic images to your consciousness. Your spirit does this, sending psychic images to your consciousness of pictures of that same dog that had once bitten you, but instead as a stuffed toy, accompanied by an actual bark of your neighbor's dog. So this bark, or it can be a bark on the TV, or even a person barking, and it's very spontaneous, and the spirit can produce these effects for you because it's actually causing not illusions or delusions, but it's causing you a manufactured reality in order to invest into your rehabilitation. So the power of the spirit can do all of these things, calculating details and dedication, producing and controlling all of these variables. So let's go back to how drugs can harm you. With this new understanding, the dangers of doing drugs, for the experience of damaging or dampening memories, or not dampening memories, or controlling negative thoughts and behaviors can be countered by taking happy drugs. Once a person enters into the waning state cycle, waning, which means lowering cycle, where the effects of the drugs can no longer offset negative emotions, the person must reinitialize a positive cycle by consuming more drugs. So when the low of the high starts to hit, they take more drugs to be happy, and thereby offsetting the negative emotions. I mean, in the beginning, they'll just recognize this as a low. I mean, if you've been doing E for like 6-8 months, it's definitely the lows that you're offsetting, instead of addressing your emotional traumas or your negative experiences and your acknowledgement of bad karma or the indignant things that you've done that need to be addressed. But after all the lessons are taught from drugs, there are more moments of ascension, and the person is left with just chemical bliss. This chemical bliss eventually, and without a doubt, is always abused and addictive because it's available. The person is left confused because they are always trapped in their moments of bliss.